CBS Sports welcomes you to Buffalo, New York, the newly named HSBC Arena. First round action of the 2000 NCAA tournament. From the East Regional, the 10th seeded Seton Hall Pirates taking on the 7th seeded Oregon Ducks. First of 4 games in Buffalo today on the road to the Final Four. We'll wrap it up tonight with Indiana and Pepperdine.
They won't play.
Hi, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Jim Spanarkel. Once again, great to be a part of CBS's coverage of the NCAA tournament. We've got the Pac-10 against the Big East, and Jimmy will start with Oregon. Alex Scales is their go-to guy offensively, but A.D. Smith right now is their emotional leader. He's playing with a broken cheekbone.
And the amazing thing about that with A.D. Smith is he only missed 1 basketball game because of the injury. And as you can see, he'll wear the mask to protect that injury for him. One of the things he does so well on the floor is he's a great post-up player. Gets a lot of opportunities for Oregon, a team that likes to go up and down the floor. When they need a bucket, they'll go to him. Shaheen Holloway on the other side for Seton Hall. He's the catalyst for this team. They're a guard-oriented team that likes to push the ball up the floor. If he can deliver the ball to the three-point shooters and they knock them down, Seton Hall is a different team to contend with.
Starting lineups for the Pirates, who finished 20-9 this season, 10-6 in the Big East. Greg Morton, Samuel Dallenberg, Darius Lane, Remus Kaukanis, and Shaheen Holloway. They play a 3-guard set, as does Oregon. Up front, A.D. Smith and Flo Hartenstein, Darius Wright, the point guard Frederick Jones, and Alex Scales, the 4th leading scorer in the Pac-10 this season. Ernie Kent, coaching at his alma mater. Never easy, but he has led this team to the NCAA tournament. He's been here before as a head coach. He got St. Mary's here in 1997. And if you want to talk about experience in the NCAA tournament, look no farther than Tommy Amaker. First time, though, as a head coach, as he gets Seton Hall into the tournament for the first time since 1994. Our officials here today: Edwin Etzel, Tom O'Neill, and Zelton Steed. Series note: first ever meeting between Seton Hall and Oregon. And the Ducks, tremendous season for them at 22-7, 13-5 in the Pac-10. I think they're ahead of schedule considering what Ernie Kent was hoping for when he took this job.
Well, you have a situation where with Oregon, they're going to push this ball up the floor as much as possible. They're a very strong defensive team, so Seton Hall has to really be careful with the basketball to start things off. They do not want to be going down the other end on the turnovers.
Ducks haven't won an NCAA tournament game since 1960, and they felt they should have been seeded higher. When UCLA got in as a 6th seed, Oregon was under the impression that they had to be a 6 or higher, at least on the same level as UCLA, considering that they split with them this season, and the fact that they finished higher in the Pac-10.
Right, and you factor in another equation to that. In the Pac-10, they finished behind Arizona and Stanford, #1 seed, so
fair point.
There may be an argument there for Ernie Kent and company.
Seton Hall comes in as a 10 seed, and Tommy Amaker said that's pretty much where we expected it. They knew they would get an at-large bid with a 20-win season and a 10-6 Big East record, but they did not finish the year in good fashion.
No, they did not, and really it's predicated on shooting the basketball. And when they shoot it well, they're a different type of team. But you know, it's an interesting point with the seedings and all. About a second or two from now, the seedings mean nothing when that ball goes in the air.
Oregon, the higher seed, they're in the home white. Ball in the air, and Dallenberg controls the tip for Seton Hall. We're underway from Buffalo. Kaukanis playing with an injured ankle. We'll talk more about that.
Right off the bat, Scales 33 guarding Holloway. Interesting matchup at the point.
Seton Hall spreads the floor with Kaukanis out front. Watched by Wright. Here's Holloway off penetration. And he traveled.
Little step, little anxious going through. That's the type of style, though. Expect to see Holloway do just that type of move. Push the ball, make things happen. Keeps the pressure on you from the offensive position with the point. And he will look for guys to flare to the corners and hit their shots.
They have experience in the backcourt, Seton Hall, with Holloway and Kaukanis, both seniors, and both have waited a long time to get to this very moment.
And they've been anxious a little bit with another travel, so both teams anxious at both ends of the floor offensively. But talking to Shaheen Holloway a little bit yesterday, and he just said, you know, I'm ready to play. I've been waiting a long time for it. And guess what? It's here, and he's ready to go.
Frederick Jones, the sophomore, local product from Barlow High School in Gresham, Oregon, called on the travel. Here's Dallenberg, post-up opportunity. He is taller than Flo Hartenstein on the outside lane. First minute of play here in Buffalo on a crossover. Lane is not shy about putting it up. A leaner Off the rim. And it's rebounded by Jones.
Once again, defense pretty good. This is what they look to do. Push the ball up the floor, get some opportunities.
Pump fake, Jones tries to kick it out. Darius Wright thought about it. In a crowd. Scales with a lob upstairs. Smith couldn't catch it cleanly, and he's out of bounds.
One of the things Oregon has to get used to is that with the ball fake, obviously it's working so far. Smith with the opportunity. He's the guy they're going to look for down low in the post-up sets when they don't have anything on the wings and they need a bucket down low. He's pretty tricky on the blocks.
2 trips for Oregon, 2 turnovers. Holloway knocks it down from long range, and Seton Hall takes the 3-0 lead.
At about 40% on the year, his numbers have steadily increased over his career. Worked on that shot, and it's going down for him.
Inside Hartenstein, and it rims in. He was able to squeeze around Dellenberg.
That's all about establishing position down deep, because Dellenberg will block shots.
And the Pirates up by 1. Lane fires and connects a 3.
Has never seen a shot that he doesn't like. He will shoot it from long range, and he's a different player when he gets his first couple to go.
A partial qualifier, so he didn't play his freshman year. There's Dellenberg coming over to help and swatting it away.
You have a situation where that's one of the keys. I was talking to Tommy Amaker yesterday about this very same thing. It's the second guy in. You see the second guy right there is usually the guy gets all the flair, but the first guy, Morton, stops Smith, makes the stance defensively. That's going to allow Dellenberg to run around and roam defensively.
Shot clock at 27. Oregon gets it in. Smith on a winner. It's Dellenberg getting his second consecutive block.
He puts up big numbers. He really goes after people defensively, and it gets his confidence going at the offensive end.
6-2 Pirates. Holloway falling to the floor. And once again, another travel.
Notice once again, though, here's the stop again, and second man in, bang. Little tip, and as Bill Russell would say, hey, keep the ball in play, and off we go. But notice Smith pretty good, throws the shoulders, throws the ball at you, but if there's a second guy there, it's a different look.
Dellenberg averaged over 3.5 blocks per game in his freshman year at Seton Hall this season. Smith on a pump fake. Entry feed, Hartenstein. Tough shot, and it comes off the rim.
Dellenberg down the floor.
There's Morton filling the lane, aggressive to the goal, offensive foul.
There's a situation where Smith played 2 players. Dellenberg got down the floor in a hurry. Tommy Amaker not really arguing with the call. Watch Dellenberg. He comes through. He takes a player with him. Now watch Smith step in second. Boom, that's a terrific defensive play right there because he had to take Dellenberg out of the play first and then pick up the charging call.
So wave off the basket as Wright gets it across for Oregon.
Both teams like to pressure the perimeter.
Open look, Scales, in and out, and Dellenberg with a rebound. Scales shot 34% from three-point range this season, missed that one, and the Hall turns it over quickly.
Nice step up there by Scales just then to react. The player looks over his shoulder, and you start your feet moving before you put the ball down. A good call and quick catch by the officials just then.
Choppy start for both teams, 4th Seton Hall turnover. The Pirates 2 of 3 from the field. They lead at 6-2, a pair of three-pointers.
Nice matchup at the point. Holloway pretty good defensively. Will stick with his man.
Jones post-up opportunity. Wright pulls the trigger on a 3. Off the rim, and Morton able to save for Holloway.
See if Holloway tries to break people down in the sets when he gets the ball back, not when he starts it.
Pirates don't look to push it. They'll settle into the half-court set. Morton got tied up. A.D. Smith and Hartenstein came over late.
Oregon doing just what they do well.
Ducks 1 of 6. Jones high off the window, rimming out. And the tap-in, A.D. Smith coming over on the weak side.
There will be some lanes. With Dellenberg floating around defensively, the Ducks should be able to get some action.
Nice cut, Caucasus, and Morton found him.
One of the things you can do against that pressure on the perimeter, look back door.
8-4 Pirates. Just about 4 minutes gone by here in the first half. Scales on a crossover. Pump fake from Jones. And knocked away.
About 3 or 4 times already, Seton Hall as a team has left their feet. Guys guarding the basketball. It could pose some problems as you go through this game. They have to stay down, not bite into the ball fake.
Pull-up jump. Holloway knocks it down.
I've seen him play so many times, Ian. When he is stroking his shot and that pull-up jumper, he's a different guy from a mental standpoint.
5 points for the co-captain, Shaheen Holloway. And a foul call. Darius Lane. He will pick up his first. Breaking the action, 15:39 to play. First half, 10-4. Seton Hall out front early.
Seton Hall has jumped to a 6-point lead, and what's happening here is they're getting good balance away from the basketball. You notice on the left side of the floor, a lot of Seton Hall players. Now it's an opportunity to go backdoor. You see right here, you get a guy leaning, but notice over on this side of the floor, no one there to step in defensively. Caucanis reads it. Where's the help? Help is away from the basketball. Ernie Kent not too happy with that sequence defensively.
Couple of substitutions for Seton Hall. Kevin Wilkins into the game, a junior from Atlantic City, and Charles Menga, the former starter at center. He steps in for the first time.
That's to give D'Alembert some break, a little rest, so he doesn't pick up a needless foul.
Scales, a three, short. Smith fighting for it. Caucanis wins out. Julius Hicks is in there now for Oregon. Here's Holloway, spin move, gorgeous on the baseline, and leans in for two.
Now Scales is trying to pick him up. Not many guys can play Shaheen Holloway. He is that type of fast. He's that type of quickness.
7 points for Holloway. Scales, backdoor cut by Smith.
Does Smith ever know how to play this game? I love watching a kid like him. He just watches the basketball and tracks it and understands where to get on the floor. Kind of one of those throwbacks who knows how to play the game.
Ernie Kent told us he's an overachiever, and he is so steady. Back Caucanis had it blocked. Scales got a piece. Caucanis able to lay it home off the rebound.
Once again, the overplay by the Ducks coming out. Seton Hall very patient.
Scales trying to get involved in the block from Wilkins. A foul call. Caucanis was there. And they will give it to Remus Caucanis.
That's a little hesitation now. He freezes, you get you to lock. The knees go straight up. Once he senses that you're standing up on him, Shaheen Holloway just puts you away. I mean, he does that as well as any point guard you'll see. Freezing people with the basketball, waiting for the perfect time, and then blowing by you with the first step.
Couple of free throws for Alex Scales, one of the top players in the Pac-10 this season. With his team trailing 14-6. Ty Shine, the backup point guard, steps in for the first time today, replacing Shaheen Holloway. One out of two. How about Oregon coming across the country to Buffalo? The travel involved to get here for the first-round game, Jimmy.
I think you're seeing a little bit of it right now, Ian, with the weariness maybe in their legs to get them started.
Jump shot, Wilkins.
I believe that you're geographically oriented. You know that Seton Hall doesn't go as far away as Buffalo as Oregon does. So you have a situation here where it's an advantage to Seton Hall. And the legs, it looks a little weird if you've ever traveled. I mean, it wears you down even if you don't have to play basketball.
Seton Hall had an hour flight here to Buffalo as A.D. Smith has it rim out. Fight for the rebound. Smith again. No good, but a foul call.
There really is a difference without D'Alembert on the floor for Seton Hall because they don't pose the same shot blocker. And once again, A.D. Smith just keeps working. He misses this easy one, usually puts that away. But watch him go to work. Grabs his arm, pulls him to the floor. We talked about the cheekbone injury. Well, he's one tough guy. One tough guy.
Suffered that injury on February 26th in a game against USC. And initially, they felt he would not play again during the regular season. That he may come back for the postseason.
Put 3 screws in his cheekbone. And not a lot of guys would be playing basketball with that injury.
He missed one game.
Right, exactly.
Smith, 6 points. 83% free throw shooter this season. And Oregon cuts into the Seton Hall lead, 16-9. Pirates 7 of 9 from the field. That's 78%. Shine. Oregon thought he traveled, and Shine drains it from the outside.
Ty Shine might be the best backup point guard in the Big East, and he probably is, and he does a good job of helping Holloway get some breaks.
Jump shot, Jones for 3.
That's what they need to do. They need to get some wing players involved here. It's basically Smith carrying the load for them with opportunities. Oregon likes to get some action on the wings and quick.
Wilkins thought about it from the outside. Here's Caucanis trying to turn the corner, but right clogged up the hole. They'll reset with Shine.
Caucanis will knock it down from the standstill and go backdoor. He's not going to do much off the dribble.
Here's Lane. They give him an opening for 3. And Smith on the weak side for the board. Here's Smith taking it himself across. Right 3. And Lane uncontested for the rebound.
Got a break there. Shine went around the screen, not contesting at all.
Acceleration by Shine off a double team. Could not get it to Lane and Caucanis. The timeout just before he crossed the midcourt stripe. 18-12. Seton Hall with the lead. First half here in Buffalo.
Seton Hall holding on to their 6-point lead. One of the things about basketball is you have to make quick decisions, not only players but also officials. Listen here. Now the rule basically says that if he has possession, Caucanis, he has to gather in possession before he can make a call. Official right on it. Caucanis thinking. A little other thing about that play was half court was a problem for him, so he had to establish position before he got the half court. First thought and then make the call. Pretty good thinking.
Tommy Amaker mixing and matching his players now with Holloway and Shine playing in the backcourt together with D'Alembert up front, Wilkins and Darius Lane.
Little switch defensively here, showing a little matchup. We're going to stay with Lane though. It looks like a boxing one.
Shine a three. In and out. Lane with the offensive rebound. And there's Wilkins fighting for it and slams it down.
Well, Lane stayed in the lane a long time, just then people jumping on him.
Back the other way. Jones lays it home and a foul. Oregon wasting little time off of a made basket, getting it up the floor quickly.
I'm sure Ernie Kent probably talked about that, after that last break. You see Seton Hall going to work right now. Lane's down below. You see him down there. He's looking for himself to be protected. The follow-up down deep by Wilkins, and then off to the races. Wilkins trying to get back, gives a little shove. The completion by Jones, but I'm sure Ernie Kent was talking just about that. He said, guys, we got to pick up our pace here. We traveled a long way. He's probably not emphasizing that, forgetting about that, but saying, hey, we look a little sluggish. Let's pick it up.
6 fast break points so far for Oregon, and that was the scouting report coming into this game, that the Ducks were going to run every possible opportunity. And now Kent has made some changes with Smith going to the bench. Hartenstein checks in. And Jones with a chance to complete the three-point play. He does. Brian Bracey into the game for the first time today for Oregon.
And with Ty Shine and Shaheen Holloway on the floor at the same time, they have Caucanis, who's a shooting guard, but 2 point guards with Shine and Holloway right now. Back to the man-to-man for Oregon.
Here's Holloway one-on-one with Wright. Lob upstairs. D'Alembert couldn't catch it. And Oregon able to close in to knock the ball away.
Beautiful help by Jones from the weak side also. Oregon all of a sudden looks a little sharper the last minute or so, especially at the defensive end.
Shot clock at 18, 12:09 to play here in the first half. 20-15 Pirates.
A little bump. Jones going to get him with a little lean just then. That's the quickness of the guards right now. The guard play, Jones defensively, not reacting quick enough to Ty Shine, who can put it on the floor. Not as quickly as Shaheen Holloway, but a step below, and that's a pretty good level to be at.
Jones picks up his first. So a new shot clock for Seton Hall to work with. Here's Holloway feeding inside. Wilkins on a kick out. Two-man game with Caucanis. Wilkins fading away, comes up short. Tussle for the loose ball. Bodies flying and a jump ball call. Possession arrow favors Oregon.
That's the right call, too. They're going after it. No possession. You can't give anybody a time.
11:50 to play. First half, 20-15. Seton Hall with the lead. NCAA tournament coverage here on CBS. Seton Hall leading, 11:50 to play here. First half, East Region, first of 4 games today in Buffalo. And the Seton Hall Pirates playing their style. It's Oregon that's had a tough time getting into the flow.
They're trying to get their legs going. Oregon pushing the ball up the floor, make some things happen. But both of these teams are similar on paper. They're guard-driven, 3 guards on each squad. Right now, the better play from the shooting standpoint of Seton Hall, 6 of 8 from the floor from their backcourt is the difference.
They have to get Scales on track. He averaged 16 points per game this season. He has 1 so far. Nearly 9 minutes gone by.
How about some touches to begin with, right?
Jones in some traffic, grazing the rim. Out of bounds, last touch Oregon.
Seton Hall, a team that will defend on the perimeter once again, and D'Alembert back into the basketball game, a presence defensively.
Oregon 33% from the field. And Seton Hall at 60%. Caucanis outside for Shine. Here's Caucanis on a spin move to the rim. The floater, no.
Yeah, D'Alembert on the right and missed him also. Brought a lot of guys to the middle of the floor with him on the spin.
In transition. Scales, baseline drive, and a whistle stops play as he made his move to the rim.
Holloway with the grab on the baseline. Right, pretty shifty with the basketball also. It's a nice matchup at the point guard position.
Microsoft Databank, Oregon defeated Ohio State in the first NCAA tournament final. 3 Oregon players scored in double digits. John Dick, the leading scorer, with 13 points, taking you all the way back 1939.
There's Scales trying to make his move. D'Alembert again didn't get the block, but gets a hurry, gets an alteration, if you will, down deep. And that's one of the things that really goes unnoticed in this game, how a big fella will make you think about your shot. It's really a factor with D'Alembert on the floor.
And Scales is now 0 for 3 from the field. We approach the midway point of the first half. And a foul called. Anthony Norwood tried to split in between Caucatus, and he got tagged with a personal. Monday on CBS, if your parents lived right across the street, how far would you go to stop them from always hanging out at your place? You won't believe what Ray does to get his parents a social life on an all-new Everybody Loves Raymond, Monday on CBS. Here's Caucatus looking for D'Alembert. Matched up with Hartenstein.
Pretty good pressure again on the perimeter.
Caucatus using the screen set by Morton. And D'Alembert with a tap. Going to wave that one off in the cylinder.
Caucatus putting it on the floor. D'Alembert rotating. Watch down the middle of the floor. Here comes D'Alembert right there. Now watch the basketball. So clearly a good call from the officials. Great drive by Caucatus. Gets defensively everybody moving towards him. Just a little too quick. See, I never had that problem. So it was never over the rim. I would have caught that on the floor.
You had the problem missing the initial shot.
That too. That was another problem.
Here's Wright on an entry feed. Bracey.
Quickness.
Taken away. Holloway 2-on-2. He got bumped as Darius Wright came over and got in between Holloway and the rim.
And Wright is one of those players defensively. He got back quickly against Holloway, but really at a disadvantage once Holloway got the basketball and had the ball on the open floor. Guard going deep against another guard. It's not fair when you have that kind of speed.
Wright picks up his first third-team foul on Oregon. Lane fading away. Doesn't get the roll. Knocked out of bounds. And it's going the other way. This is what the region looks like here in Buffalo. The first of 4 games coming up. Temple and Lafayette. Tip time approximately 2:47 later tonight. Hofstra, Oklahoma State, Indiana, and Pepperdine. Rest of the East, Duke is the top seed. And a lot of question marks as to whether or not Temple deserve to be a number 2 or a number 1. And if they are indeed a 2, which they are, do they belong in the same region as Duke?
You know what's interesting about that is my feeling on it, sooner or later you're going to find out the answer to that question.
1-on-1 situation. Bracey missing on the first, but they get the offensive board. Scales, they needed that. Three-pointer.
Finally wakes it up, gets one to go down forward, gets a little rhythm. Now we'll see if Oregon's going to be a different team at the offensive end with Scales involved a little bit.
20-18. Holloway pull-up pop is good.
Quickness again off the top of the screen, a little high set for Shaheen Holloway, a tough defender. Not really known for knocking the shots down the first 3 years.
Scales can't get it to go for 3, and Hartenstein tracks it down in the corner.
Interesting how he got the shot up next time down the floor.
Here's a crossover guarded by Caucatus. Bracey will put it on the floor. Wild shot. Hartenstein able to pick it up and knocked away off the Hartenstein miss.
It's D'Alembert again. The factor of having a big fella roaming around down low has affected Oregon when they've gotten the ball down low. Even Smith has scored, but no one else really has been a factor.
Wright could not control it out of bounds. The East region looks like this with Duke and Lamar in a first-round matchup. Illinois, Pennsylvania playing as we speak. Florida, Butler, and Kansas against DePaul. That's a tremendous first-round matchup as well.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you have a situation there, everybody going in. Your point is well taken with Duke, Temple the same.
There's a cut. Holloway, and a blocking foul call.
3 times we have seen Seton Hall take advantage of the pressure by Oregon out front. And here comes Holloway right at it. Defensively a little late with the rotation. Hartenstein down deep. It's a good thought process, but once again, for Ernie Kent, his team a step slow.
Ernie Kent, what a week it has been for him. He lost his father on Friday of last week, passing away in Chicago. He traveled with his family to the Windy City and then made his trip here to Buffalo. But in speaking with Ernie, he said that he's tried to keep it away from the team He also said it's something that is going to hit him very hard once this tournament is over.
Very class act gentleman right there, too. I mean, the way he's approaching it, you can only understand what he's going through if you've experienced what he's going through in terms of a loss in a situation where trying to put it beside the team is just an important way to go about it, and it really says a lot about the man.
Seton Hall up by 6, under 9 minutes to play in the first half. Anthony Norwood off of penetration.
Good help side defense from Seton Hall.
Smith on a pump fake. The floater swatted by Dellenberg, but that's goaltending.
It's pretty to watch, but that ball clearly down on the way down. Smith with some pretty good ball fakes. Gets by, and I watch a little floater down, but under the basket, so you know that one's going to go the opposite way. Smith's so smart. I mean, you usually don't see your forwards doing that. You see the guards coming down the lane and really going up and doing a little flip over the big guy.
91-inch wingspan. Lane comes up short, follows his own shot. So aggressive. And Darius Lane would not give up on the play.
And he's sensing that his shot is not going down. That's why he's tracking the basketball for his offensive opportunities.
5 points for Lane. Smith lines it up and connects a 3.
Oh, he steps away. A little step away says to Dellenberg, hey, you going to block a shot down low? Come on out here, big fella. Let's see if you can do it from the three-point range defensively.
11 points for the fifth-year senior from Eugene, Oregon. Here's Wilkins putting it on the floor, defended by Smith. 26-23 Pirates. Wilkins mini hook short.
Notice the lack of offensive rebounding opportunities for Seton Hall.
Darius Wright pull-up jumper inside the arc, and it's rebounded by Dellenberg. He'll clear it for Holloway.
One of the things Tommy Amaker wanted to do in this game was hit the offensive glass.
Cross court. Now it's Lane. A 3 off the rim. Oregon trying to save it, and they do. A very good effort by Scales.
2 players from Seton Hall just then kind of laid back, thinking that ball was going to make it out of bounds and regain the possession on it.
We approach 7 minutes to play in the first half. 3-point Seton Hall edge. Here's Smith in a matchup with Wilkins. Back in by Hartenstein. Drop step, count it.
Able to use the strength down low. Very good position. Not much of a scorer, but when he does get the basketball down there, he has the ability to use that body. That's the one weakness that Dellenberg has, is that the lack of strength. Can you imagine if he puts on 25 pounds of muscle over the course of his career?
Lane had it blocked from the outside, and 3 free throws will be coming. The foul called on Norwood.
Norwood coming around the corner, was on the right side of the shooter, so you have an opportunity to get a hand up. Did graze the shooter a bit. Ernie Kent wondering why, though. He's trailing the play.
So Darius Lane goes to the free throw line 70% this season. He was the Big East Rookie of the Week 6 times this year. Out of Minnesota.
Call him the Mad Bomber from Minnesota. As we've seen already, as that number indicates, he likes to shoot the 3, and the one thing about him, he likes to shoot it quickly. One of the fastest releases that I've seen.
Doesn't get the roll on the first. He shared Mr. Basketball honors in the state of Minnesota coming out of high school with the former Gopher, Joe Prisbilla, the big center. We spoke with Tommy Amaker yesterday, asked him about Lane, and we asked him, hey, did you expect this? This is his first year of college basketball as he misses on the second. He said, you know what, from practice last year, we did. He was a partial qualifier, so he was allowed to practice, but he just couldn't play in the games.
And the thing about it, Tommy, is as humble as he is, he has a great eye for talent and understanding it, but there was a period of time earlier in this year that the way Lane was playing and shooting the basketball, I think even Tommy would be a little shocked, or was shocked, at how just well he could shoot the basketball, especially from long range.
Has really stepped in the loss of Gary Saunders, the senior who was dismissed from the team for violating university policy. Timeout. 27-25, Pirates.
Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg in New York. 2-point game. We'll get you back to Seton Hall in Oregon. We'll keep you updated. But right now, let's tell you what's happening in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where Illinois and the Penn Quakers are doing battle. Illinois had the advantage early on, but Penn has come back, Clark.
They've come back. Michael Jordan, their leading scorer, has 3 fouls, and Fran Dunphy has been interchanging him strategically. And since that time, when he's been back on the floor after picking up the 3 fouls, Penn has gone on a nice run.
his contribution has been big, not just physically, but emotionally.
Exactly. He's their leader. He can make plays off the dribble, not only for himself, but also for his teammates.
In Nashville, UNC, Wilmington, and Cincinnati. How about the Bearcats today?
I think they're pressing a bit. Obviously, their first game since losing to St. Louis in the conference tournament without Kenyon Martin. It's one thing to practice without your star player. It's a whole nother thing to go out on the court against a team that feels like now they've got a better chance to deal with you since you don't have your main star player.
We talked about intimidation earlier, but the Seahawks don't look very intimidated so far, do they?
Well, again, they feel confident. They feel like they've got a chance. Cincinnati has pressed a little bit offensively. Have not made their shots. There's a good inside shot there. Ryan Fletcher able to finish. And again, I think as Cincinnati settles down, they'll eventually be able to use their defense to score at the other end and wear down UNC Wilmington.
Right now, they're under 6 minutes to play in the first half in Nashville, and Cincinnati holding the 5-point lead.
Cincinnati shooting the ball poorly to start, but that could be part of nerves and part of defense by Wilmington.
In Birmingham, the game between the Ragin' Cajuns and Tennessee, there's a timeout there, but Tennessee's Volunteers have their hands full today.
Well, they've got to bring an attitude. This Louisiana team, Ragin' Cajun, that's how they're playing, with a lot of spice and a lot of fire. Tennessee is primarily a finesse team, and they've got to get down and dirty and start going right at Louisiana.
All right, Clark, time to get you back to Buffalo, Seton Hall, and Oregon. Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel.
5:33 to play in the first half. Seton Hall with a 3-point lead on Oregon. Inside, Smith leaning in for two. This has been a close game. And just now, Oregon is beginning to get into a rhythm offensively.
Well, one of the things the Ducks have done, they've really kind of triggered themselves from the defensive end. They really weren't playing well early, and I think that was because of the travel, to be quite candid about it. They were a little sluggish. Ernie Kent was trying to push a couple of buttons here and there. Finally, he gets them moving. Now, all of a sudden, Seton Hall says, hey, we may have a little tougher game on our hands than we thought in the first 5 minutes of this ball game.
A.D. Smith has been carrying the load for Oregon with 15 points. Seton Hall up by 1. Here's Shine on a fadeaway, way off, and it's rebounded by Scales.
Making them work a little bit now to get better shots.
Right with a bullet feed, knocked around, and Holloway comes up with it. Here's Holloway using the screen set by Morton. Jump shot off the back of the iron. Good grab by Morton. Knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. Game summary here in Buffalo. Seton Hall with the 1-point advantage. Field goal percentage, Pirates shooting very well throughout the day, and Holloway leading the way with 11 points. Dellenberg has had a presence on the inside, but for anybody that's watched the Pirates games this season, you know that he can get a bit overzealous at times.
And I think one of the key things there is to make sure he walks off the half if you're Seton Hall without foul trouble.
Lane, the jumper. Smith with the position on the weak side.
A lot of things coming from the outside.
Shine able to get back and knock the ball away from Scales, out of bounds. Compare any two of the players in the tournament and find out who has the edge in the player matchup feature. Check it out. March Mayhem at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online, keyword CBS Sportsline. Seton Hall with a 1-point lead. Oregon looking for its first lead of the day. Right on a bounce for Hartenstein.
Look at Dellenberg just standing in the middle of the basket area.
Smith off the mark on a 3-pointer.
We have a situation. Last 2 or 3 trips, Seton Hall did not take a look down low before they launched a long shot. I'm sure Tommy Amick would rather see them get better ball movement, little cuts away from the basketball, and then take your outside shot if need be.
There's an entry. Dellenberg hands to Holloway. Jump shot, baseline, is good.
See, it's a simple thought, but at least look down. That makes the defenders react a little bit.
Oregon pushes it up quickly. Jones on a cross-court feed. Right, lurking there is Dellenberg. Stepping around, and coming up with a steal is Shine. Shake and bake move to the goal. Blocked away by Jones. Dellenberg trying to save it, and now Oregon with numbers. 3-on-1 developing. Ball fake, leaning in, right for the layup.
Well done by Scales. Holloway seems to be struggling a little bit, holding his right wrist in touch, and also his shoulder now seems to be dipping a little bit. He's got a problem.
Seton Hall holding on to a 1-point lead with 3:26 to play. First half. 32-31, Pirates leading the Ducks with 3:26 remaining in the first half. The 10-7 matchup, and that's when the seeds get a bit blurry.
Absolutely. I mean, you have, I think it's a toss-up, a coin toss, when you get to that particular portion of the brackets and the seedings. And you look over at the bench right now, Seton Hall, that's Shaheen Holloway in the middle there. He walked off after that last play with his right wrist, right hand, and that's what they're tending to over there. I mean, he had a grimace on his face walking off. Doesn't look too happy right now. We'll see what happens with that.
Came to Seton Hall with such lofty expectations out of St. Patrick's High School in New Jersey, originally from Queens. Finally gets to the NCAA tournament in his final year of eligibility, his senior campaign. Here's Dallenberg losing the ball. Harris is there. Hartenstein trying to tap it, and he touched it last out of bounds. A timeout, 3:05 left. First half, Seton Hall with a 1-point edge. 32-31, Seton Hall leading it. Shaheen Holloway, co-captain of the Pirates, icing down his right wrist. Holloway remains on the bench. On the jump shot, Holloway fell down. And we believe that's where the injury took place. Let's check in right now with the third member of our broadcast team, Dwayne Ballard.
And Shaheen Holloway fell on a still camera. His right wrist slightly sprained, but they're taping it. He will play again. He's going to be okay.
All right, Dwayne, thank you very much. Holloway's 5 of 6 from the field, 13 points.
What I can tell you there is when you hurt your wrist, he should be able to play, but one of the things about putting ice on his wrist is going to tighten that up a little bit, and clearly, if you haven't watched him play a whole lot, he's a right-handed shooter, so we'll keep you abreast of what happens with his ability to flip his wrist and shoot the basketball.
Ty Shine, the backup point guard, seeing extended minutes. Now Kaukanis joins him in the backcourt with Darius Lane.
The value of having Ty Shine on the Seton Hall team, though, he's a second point guard when Holloway is off the floor.
Dump it inside. Dallenberg gets a touch. The hook shot rimming in.
Ernie Kent will be happy with that, though, because they're still not getting good shots. Seton Hall, I think the defense from Oregon is coming back a little bit, making things happen defensively.
First 2 of the day for Dallenberg. Illinois with a lead at halftime. Other scores from around the country.
Cincinnati with a lot to prove, I think.
Hartenstein had it blocked by Dallenberg. His third, knocked out of bounds. And Oregon will retain possession. Coming up, Pennzoil at the hat. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg will get you updated on all the tournament news and all the scores and highlights, plus a live look-in at all the action going on in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up. Pennzoil at the hat. Jump shot does not go down. And a personal foul assessed.
Holloway back on the floor. First time he gets the basketball, if it's not in an instinctive area of the floor. Right now, we'll see which hand he dribbles with the most. There's his left hand. See, now he's protecting that initially. That's the first read. But when he gets into a bang-bang situation now, if somebody gets close to him, he'll use that hand instinctively.
Seton Hall started off the game red hot from the field. Slammed down by Dallenberg.
Not an alley-oop, but it works just the same. That was a missed shot from the right side of the floor. Dallenberg putting up nice minutes for Tommy Amaker's squad.
4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks, and now Ernie Kent wants to have a chat with his Oregon Ducks. A minute 48 to play in the first half. 36-31, Pirates. Minute 48 to play in the first half. Seton Hall with the 5-point lead. Ian Eagle along with Jim Spinarkle. And tempo was such a key heading into this game. Who's controlled it so far?
So far, Seton Hall has done exactly what they want, I think. They have not allowed Oregon to get up and down, to really make things happen in terms of the fast up and down pace that they would like. Seton Hall is a patient team. Tommy Amaker has the ability to slow it down, to look for spotty opportunities to push also. So far, the win in the short-term sense has gone to Tommy Amaker and Seton Hall.
First 20-win season for Seton Hall since 1993. They spent 1 week in the top 25 this year. On a back in, Hicks gets the roll. 36-33 Pirates. Dallenberg battling for position with the much smaller Julius Hicks. Here's Kaukanis. Fading away, he had it blocked. Very active and running out is Alex Scales. Beautiful finish.
If you can put the Ducks defense and their transition offense in a bottle, that's what you would see on the tape. Ernie Kent just loves to see the aggressive defense force a bad shot and then get easy buckets in transition.
Holloway gives up his dribble. Under a minute to play now in the first half with a 1-point game. Seton Hall in front. Here's Shaheen on the outside. Off the spin move, couple of fakes. And the rebound to Hicks. Oregon with a chance to go out in front with 34 seconds to play in the first half.
They have battled their way through this first half because I'm still not convinced that they have their legs underneath them for game-type situations. But they hung around and battled, so that's really an indicator of just how tough they are.
Unforced error, Wright losing it out of bounds as Smith was trying to hand it over.
Here's that opportunity. Off to the races they go. Scales pushing, little fancy dip away, protecting the basketball. But look at Smith, baseball pass, right on the money. Watch the ball hide. Boom, takes it away, puts it up off the glass. The hide is to make sure that the defender does not strip it. Ernie Kent likes what he's seen this last 3 or 4 minutes.
Shot clock turned off. 13 seconds to play in the first half.
They only have 16 fouls, excuse me, so they can't pick up a foul here.
Holloway, the leaner, scoop shot, no good. Final seconds, Scales will launch at the buzzer. And that is how the first half will end. Seton Hall with a 36-35 lead. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship from Buffalo. Let's go to New York. Greg Gumbel. Look at Lake Erie, and in the background, downtown Buffalo, with Seton Hall leading Oregon 36-35. The weather has cleaned up quite a bit from yesterday. All snow yesterday, but clear skies today in western New York. Welcome back, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Jim Spinarco. We expected close. We have gotten close so far. I think the one big difference, though, Oregon has not gotten the big-time effort from Alex Scales. A.D. Smith has been their go-to guy offensively. They're still in it.
My guess is that Ernie Kent's going to try to get Scales some touches on the offensive end, try to make things happen defensively. Also with Seton Hall, you have to be concerned about Shaheen Holloway's wrist. It comes down to that.
Look at the halftime numbers. Seton Hall started out so well from the field, but struggled at the end. 15 of 36. Oregon actually outshoots Seton Hall in terms of percentage in the first half. Holloway, you mentioned the injured wrist, 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field, just 1 assist though. And A.D. Smith, 15 points on 6 of 10 shooting and 6 rebounds.
Had an opportunity to speak with assistant coaches Fred Hill and Chris Collins of Seton Hall, and one of the things they were concerned about was how Holloway was going to push the ball up the floor and get some penetrations and make things happen. But at the other end of the floor, they were concerned about A.D. Smith, the ability to kind of get these points down low, and they said, well, after the game, you look at his stat line, you say, well, he had 15 points at the half, and you look around and say, how did he get 15? He finds a way, and that was what they were concerned about, and they haven't been able to slow him down.
It's been an emotional year for Seton Hall University. A tragic fire on January 19th in a freshman dorm took the life of 3 students, 50 injuries. The Pirates actually are wearing a black circular patch on their shorts to honor the students that were lost in that fire. Here's Lane opening things up with a 3-pointer to start play in the second half. Off the mark. Seton Hall with another offensive rebound.
Lane is now 2 for 10. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes out of his shooting slump.
Here's Holloway looking inside for Dellenbear. A hook shot. Off the rim and rebounded by Jones. 36-35 Seton Hall just underway in the second half. A tight game basically from the start. Oregon has never led.
And they've never really been able to get into their transition game.
Scales, bucket for 3.
So there's that early touch. Ernie Kent, I'm sure at the half, wanted to get him involved. He had not been really involved in the first half. The team Ducks from a long West Coast trip to Buffalo has been sluggish. Now all of a sudden they're pushing the ball up and look like a different team the last 5 minutes and the minute here into the second half.
First lead of the day for the Ducks. 38-36. On the drive, Morton had it blocked by Smith.
Defensively, just knows where to be. Smith defensively getting a hand on the basketball, always around the ball.
Here's Jones, the sophomore, putting it on the floor. He pulls the trigger. Can't hit the 3, and it's rebounded by Holloway.
Holloway switching to the left hand as much as possible with the dribble.
Playing with an injured right wrist. Pump fake, gives it up. Lane looking for a shot. Rainbow delivery, no. Tap in, goes through. Morton following on the play.
Lane continues to struggle, but Morton tracking the basketball. An opportunity, a seam. No one blocking him out.
Tied at 38. Smith, front rim.
There's challenging Dallenberg, that's for sure.
Jones off penetration, couldn't spin it home, and the long rebound comes out to Holloway. Pull-up jumper, strokes it over Wright. Bodies flying once again, and it's rebounded by Oregon. Wright comes out of the pack.
Lane slow to get back.
Here's Scales. And a foul call.
A little out of control. 3-on-2, they had the numbers also. The Ducks coming down the floor pretty quickly. Really didn't have the great spacing that you would like to see on a fast break. But look to your right, there's a man wide open, tries to go a little fancy, gets out of control, runs over a defender.
Offensive foul on Scales. And he is charged with his first. Ty Shaheen is checked into the game for the Pirates. Here's Holloway, penetration, breaking down the defense for the running one-hander.
That's a different shot, to be able to use your hand. You notice he went underneath, so it doesn't really affect him shooting the ball like a jump shot.
Look out, the lob. Too high for Scales, out of bounds. Jones was looking for the alley-oop.
And I like the aggressiveness, though, by the Ducks down their end of the floor offensively. Clearly, they talked about it at half, I'm sure, about up-tempoing this game as much as possible. Ernie Kent really trying to get something out of the transition and really picking them up offensively. To this point, about 5 minutes of about 23 minutes really stagnant for them.
Frederick Jones, the high school player of the year in Oregon, is now on the bench, replaced by Anthony Norwood. Seton Hall up by 2. 3 minutes elapsed here in the second half. Caucanis puts it on the floor.
They need somebody to find a way to score is their problem, Seton Hall.
Shot clock at 7 and a foul called as they try to get it to the post, and Dallenberg, A.D. Smith using the body. 16:55 to play. Second half, 40-38. Pirates leading the Oregon Ducks.
When Seton Hall is successful and has been successful throughout the year, they've controlled the tempo in the games that they've won. And here they're doing a nice job of controlling the tempo. It's a Tommy Amaker type afternoon so far.
Step in. Scales could not come up with a steal. Here's Shaheen feeding Caucanis. Inside, Morton couldn't dunk it. Rebounded by Hartenstein. He traveled.
Easy call for the officials. No question about that call. Ernie Kent down the other end of the floor doesn't get as good a look as everybody down this end, but clearly you'll see Hartenstein get the basketball and the watch. Bang, bang, off he goes.
Could you get a foul on Dallenberg, though?
Possibly. There was a lot of traffic in there from both ends.
So once again, a new shot clock to work with. Holloway off a switch. Here's Shaheen. Now Caucanis matched up with Scales.
Scales is not letting Caucanis get a shot off.
Shot clock at 17. Shaheen fading away. Off the rim and rebounded by Scales. Now wearing number 23. Got blood on his jersey. Right jump shot is short for 3, and Dallenberg with a board. Here's Caucanis. Taking it himself into the lane.
Oh, that ball may have dropped too. Caucanis looks like he's hurt on the right side of the floor. Now he's had a problem with his ankle, his left ankle, and he's coming up hobbling, and it appears to be not a whole lot of pressure being put on that. I thought this basketball was going to go in. Caucanis finds a way to put it up on the glass, and then all of a sudden someone comes in, Dallenberg I believe it was, and he comes down hard on that left foot. Sometimes you don't have to step on a foot as you're going through the lane, you just place it incorrectly.
Tommy Amaker told us Caucanis is playing at about 75%. He's a native of Lithuania, but came over to America before he wrapped up high school, and his American guardians, Rob and Gene Underhill, live in Prattsburg, New York. That's about 120 miles away from Buffalo. So Caucanis with some familiar faces in the crowd here today cheering him on. With his team in front by 2, a second free throw.
It's really been the guts for this Seton Hall team throughout his career, just the way he plays. 88% free throw shooter. You don't see him miss too often.
Tournament summary on Thursday. 15 of 16 of the top seeds advanced on the only quote-unquote upset, if you want to call it that, Gonzaga, number 10, defeating number 7 Louisville, and some tight games as well, with St. John's going right down to the wire in the 2:15 matchup out on the West Coast against Northern Arizona.
Big sigh of relief for Mike Jarvis and company. They've been on such a terrific roll, St. John's, and really going all out last night to get one.
Here's the penetration, ball knocked around. Jones, blocked. 15:42 to play in the second half. The jump shot from Shaheen with his team in front by 3. D'Alembert with the rebound. Seton Hall has the advantage.
D'Alembert, good work on the offensive glass. The big fella has really done a good job defensively, keeping the Ducks out of the paint area. A little travel for Lane. Tempo is still in favor of Seton Hall.
And Darius Lane is just trying to find a rhythm. Timeout. Seton Hall up by 3.
Seton Hall leads Oregon 41-38 here in Buffalo. Ernie Kent, the head coach of Oregon, told me a few minutes ago he felt extremely fortunate to be down by 1 at the half, considering that Scales and Jones were having a bad game. He felt the cross-country trip may have factored into that. As for Kaukanis at Seton Hall, the doctor is attending to him right now in the locker room. They may have to retape that ankle. Ian, Jim?
Dwayne, thank you. Earlier it was Holloway with the injured wrist, and now Kaukanis with the ankle, and he's had some history with that ankle.
He's had problems with it. It has affected his shooting because he hasn't been able to plant, but my guess is, watching the way he hobbled off just then, they're probably going to retape that and get him back out here.
Jones in the game with Norwood and Darius Wright in a 3-guard set for Oregon. Here's Smith getting around D'Alembert. Off balance, Hartenstein with the rebound. Blocked away by D'Alembert. Out of bounds. 10 left on the clock.
A handful of blocks by the big fella down low. 5 of them. Usually the second guy in once again. You don't see him, now you do. His timing is very, very good as the second man in.
Trying to get it in. Hartenstein could not handle it initially. Only 6 to shoot. He'll put it up. Short. Off the fingers of Smith. Out of bounds. Near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed over $8 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Oregon 1 of 9 from the field in the second half. Seton Hall with a 3-point lead. Darius Lane tripped and stolen away by Wright.
He can fall to the floor in that play because he was dribbling the ball.
Lane is just off his game. 2 of 11 from the field.
That's why they're going to have to search out who's going to score points.
Wright gets the step on Shaheen, but Morton helps defensively. Now they switch back. Shaheen defending one-on-one with Wright. Here's Smith, a post-up situation.
Watch with D'Alembert behind.
Gives it up. Hartenstein in the lane. Extra step. Knocked away. Out of bounds. Holloway was trying to control it, but it will be Oregon's ball with 8 seconds left on the shot clock.
D'Alembert always lurking. Holloway going after it. Stepping on the line just barely. Closing in defensively. Hartenstein gets the opportunity down low because of D'Alembert flying around, roving around defensively.
8 seconds left to shoot. Oregon, no field goals over the last 5 minutes of game action. Alex Scales, a 3. He's got it.
Sizing him up. Ty Shaheen has the ability to go over him. A little height advantage at 6'4". Shaheen at just 6 feet tall, so an opportunity to really size somebody up and get on track.
Third 3 for Scales, and Holloway answers right back with a 3-ball of his own.
Forget about the sore right wrist for now, at least. Good-looking extension and good rotation and flip of the right wrist.
18 points for Holloway. Trying to turn the corner, and Jones gives it away.
Look at the handle.
Holloway goes behind the back with a dribble. D'Alembert left his feet, able to save it. Lane a 3. Book it!
So there's a shot that Lane got it quick, a bang-banger. When you're struggling as a shooter, you hope for an opportunity to get one quickly and not so much that you have to think about it.
Seton Hall up by 6. Here's a back in by Hicks. And he's called for steps.
D'Alembert a factor once again defensively. Oregon keeps going in there to track things happening. Look at the lob. Now watch the play. After it goes out of bounds, almost out of bounds, he saves the ball. Lane gets it. Bang. Take your shot. Now all of a sudden the shooter who's been struggling all afternoon, 3 for 12, he's got his last one to go down. Maybe they'll run it through Lane.
We figured Oregon would control that category, but Seton Hall's done a very good job in transition today. Here's Lane. Bumped into Smith. Wilkins thought about it. Shot clock at 12. Lane lost the ball on the way up. D'Alembert on the floor goes through his legs. Able to save it. 6 to shoot. And now a giveaway. Scales gliding towards the rim. The scoop shot? No. Wilkins couldn't grab it. And knocked out of bounds as Scales took one in the kisser.
I think Wilkins got him with the left as he went out of bounds with the basketball just then. Knocked him to the floor. Another beautiful drive by Scales. Just a little too much. The effort there. Wright trying to tip one back. Then you see the push off, a little flail. The opportunities for the Ducks down the offensive end. Just not getting it to drop. And then the action begins.
Been a rough day for Scales. A bloody nose earlier. He has not had his shooting touch. And Scales able to get up and
just keep shaking it off.
Shake off the stars.
Oh, look at this. Where is it?
Ball knocked around like a pinball. A.D. Smith leaning in and a foul call. Smith will go to the free throw line. Coming up Sunday on 60 Minutes, who are the new masters of the net? The internet, that is. They're taking the cyber world by storm. And why is the mayor of one of the world's hottest vacation spots giving visitors the cold shoulder? The answer is Sunday, 60 Minutes. And some ongoing problems right now for Alex Scales.
Tommy Amaker trying to get his group together for a moment. Scales, I guess that's number 2 at least that we've caught, but he's gotten hit in the face area, the nose area.
Seton Hall trying to huddle up with their coach, and now the officials tell him, hey, let's come back and play. As Scales is being attended to. Tommy Amaker, now what about the experience factor? He has never been here as a head coach. So many appearances as a player, as an assistant coach with Duke. This is a different animal.
Absolutely, as a coach, your first time through, there's no question it's different. He's got as much experience as any first-time coach with the NCAA, but one of the things about Tommy is the fact that he really doesn't keep driving home his Duke experience. He wants this to be a Seton Hall experience because, quite candidly, you know, if you have a situation where a guy keeps talking like that, guys would say, hey, we're not Duke, we're Seton Hall. He's a humble guy. He doesn't come out usually for interviews after games when he lets his players do his talking for him. A class act at both ends of the floor here. Ernie Kent at one end, Tommy Amaker at the other.
Remus Kaukanis getting set to check in, so a good sign for Tommy Amaker and the Pirates with Seton Hall up by 4. We approach 12 minutes to play second half. Shine fending off. Here's Holloway.
They're trying to run things through Lane, but he's not getting shots.
A 3. Buries it.
Unbelievable, the reaction. Sometimes you can play through injuries. It takes a little bit of pressure off you because you're struggling. Psychologically, it gives you a little bit of a lift.
21 points for Holloway on 8 of 11 shooting. Smith fires a pass over to Bracing. Leaning in, scoop shot, no. Knocked to the outside, and D'Alembert taps over to Holloway. Seton Hall with a chance to add to what is a 7-point advantage.
Defensively, the Ducks just have to keep the pressure on. What they need to try to do is get back into their style. They've not been successful in getting this transition game going from the defense. A little better job out front. Wilkins with the travel.
11:28 to play. Second half. Ernie Kent's team in a 7-point hole. 50-43. Pirates. Seton Hall with a 50-43 lead on Oregon. Dr. Stephanie Pinder Amaker, Tommy Amaker's wife, a professor at Seton Hall of psychology. Oregon has a rooting section as well. Oregon's athletic director, Bill Moose, in what I guess you would call the lemon yellow shirt. That's what they call it in Oregon. And Phil Knight, the head of Nike, right behind him. Beaverton, not far away from Eugene, Oregon, the hometown of the Ducks. Been a good matchup. Jump shot from the side doesn't go for Jones, and Oregon having some problems on the offensive end here in the second half.
Now 2 of 13 from the floor. They struggled to get their offense going in the first half, and it continues for them here in the second.
Holloway gives it up. Lane. Wow. Blocked away. Great athletic play by Frederick Jones.
Lane has been struggling all afternoon, as have the Ducks collectively. Watch this close. You think you have a shot? He's got a quick release. Not there. Very fast extension and recovery by Jones.
Remus Kaukanis is back from the injury and on the floor for the Pirates. Here's Holloway, watched by Wright. Acceleration, giving it up Lane. In some traffic, Dellenberg. He traveled.
Little extra step. May have held that right foot back. No argument from Tommy Amaker along the sideline. And Dellenberg, sometimes you give the basketball to the big guy in traffic, and their instincts is to put it down and to start moving, and they look up, and all of a sudden there's too many little guys around. It's not going to happen.
Each team with 12 turnovers as we come up on 10 minutes to play in the second half.
Kaukanis, as you mentioned, back on the floor. They need him out there for his poise and leadership and guts rather than his scoring.
Field goal percentage, neither team has shot lights out by any stretch. A.D. Smith had it blocked. Scales comes up with it, a 3. And good box up by Dellenberg.
Tipped Smith off the glass on the right side.
Here's Holloway. The drive by Lane. Little runner. No. Morton trying to keep it alive and knocked it out of bounds. And Oregon gets it back with 10:17 to play. Let's take a look at our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Fast break points. It's been Seton Hall leading the category 19-11. Get complete NCAA tournament coverage at cbs.sportsline.com. And that does not follow along with the scouting report.
No, absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth on that one. If you looked at the scouting reports on this one, you would think that number should have been flip-flopped with the transition for the Ducks.
Jones off shake and bake. Here's Scales giving it up.
They're explosive, though. They can score points in a hurry. You just don't know when they're going to do it.
Gracie takes the baseline, leaning in on Dellenberg, and he missed the layup. Rebounded on the inside by Morton.
Dellenberg has been able to defend without picking up fouls. He only has 1. Tommy Amaker wanted him on the floor close to 30 minutes without foul trouble today. So far, so good for the Pirates.
Touch pass, Dellenberg to Kaukanis, and he's fouled on his way to the rim.
See, with a bad ankle, you want to keep going out at Kaukanis and force him to put the ball on the floor, force him to move. Left ankle, you see it heavily taped. Interesting how you don't see hardly any sock on the right shoe anymore.
A fashion statement.
I won't tell you any old stories about how I used to play.
No, don't break into the old stories from Duke.
Okay, Sonny.
9:32 to play. We're in the second half. Seton Hall with a 50-43 lead on Oregon. Ty Shine.
This is what Seton Hall does well. They execute a little bit of a hook maybe by Holloway. Trying to get free around the curl.
Anthony Norwood stuck with him defensively, and that's exactly what the call is. Well,
you see that little hook on the right side right in here, and the shirt starts to move. And it's one thing to get hung up, but when you start seeing the shirt go up and down, you know somebody's grabbing away at it.
Anthony Norwood, sophomore from Tucson, Arizona, gets it across for Oregon. Pass inside. Scales finds Jones.
Good recovery by Kaukanis.
Jones gives up his dribble. Jump shot. Norwood is good.
Pretty good patience there by the Ducks at the offensive end. Closure down deep. Dellenberg factor again defensively, but better presence by the Ducks. Make the extra pass. Plenty of time on the clock, just under 9 minutes.
And some action away from the ball as Kaukanis got tied up with Norwood. And the foul will be given to the Ducks guard. Well, the Pirates yearbook from South Orange, New Jersey, enrollment just under 10,000. Famous alumni, which doesn't belong and why? Bill Raftery and the amazing Kreskin.
Yeah, that's our final answer, too. That top name may not belong, huh?
In a 5-point game, Shine. Delivery went high off the window. Oregon looking to break out, and Holloway able to break it up out of bounds.
Little tip, and you notice the left hand again was the only hand up there. It's the right hand that's bothering him. Long past Smith, we've seen him throw the baseball, but watch Holloway. I thought he may have had a shot at catching that basketball, but just a tiny bit slow bringing the right hand up, maybe because of the injury.
Smith gets it in. Jump shot. Scales. A little bit too much on it. Dellenbear trying to grab it, and he does. Smith backs off.
Dellenbear actually went up with one hand that trip. He's got to go up with two. Ducks pretty good at going after the basketball, even though they're undersized versus his height.
11th rebound for the freshman Samuel Dellenbear, originally from Haiti.
Nothing at the transition end, though, for the Ducks offensively.
Kalkanis used the screen and knocks down a jump shot for three.
His points will help, obviously, but once again, having him on the court with Holloway, two guys who've been through the wars together in the Big East.
8 points, 4 boards for Kalkanis, and Seton Hall with an 8-point edge. Under 8 minutes to play. Here's Bracy turning inside, reverse delivery, and that's the way to go at Dellenbear. Try to use the rim to your advantage.
And go quickly, don't hesitate.
On the other side, Dellenbear with a layup.
But then you have to get down the floor. And the Ducks not recovering defensively that well in the transition. A little turnover. Out of sorts right now. Ernie Kent needs this timeout, believe me.
Scales took his eye off the ball, and Oregon gives it up. Seton Hall with a 55-47 lead. 7.5 to play. Ernie Kent's wife, Diana Kent, taking it all in. Second half with 7.5 to play. Your husband's club is trailing 55-47.
The Ducks really have to up-tempo the defense, not allow Seton Hall to get good looks. They've been doing a pretty good job of that, shutting off guys like Kalkanis for the most part in the outside perimeter game. But Seton Hall is very good. They'll lull you to sleep and take time off the clock with a lead.
Kalkanis, pull-up is good.
He has really given them a lift since he's gone to the locker room, come back with, my guess is, a retaping of that ankle, sturdy it up a little bit. He has really responded.
Pirates have their largest lead, 10.
Ducks have to get into it, not quickly and take shots, but start moving the bodies a little faster.
On the baseline, Dellenbear will be called on Bracy. It's number 2 on Samuel Dellenbear.
He really has been a factor defensively, though, all afternoon, forcing them to look for his big body at the defensive end. You know, he's a defensive MVP so far for Seton Hall this afternoon.
Scores from around the country in Louisiana and Tennessee. In a tight one, a 2-point game with Louisiana Lafayette in front of the Vols. Tough move to the rim, Anthony Norwood.
Let's see what kind of pickup the Ducks can come up with. They're talking a little bit, communicating defensively, extending just a touch.
Norwood with 4 points off the bench.
So this is where the experience of having Kalkanis and Shine, but along with Holloway, 3 guys who can handle the ball. Kalkanis and Holloway, 2 seniors who know what to do in tough situations, but they'll work this shot clock. Ducks can't let them take too much time off this clock for the game.
5 to shoot. Holloway will have to work quickly. Penetration. Shot doesn't go down for him, and Hartenstein with a rebound.
Well defended. That's what Ernie Kent's trying to get. A couple of stops defensively, chip away at the lead. Still plenty of time, just under 6 minutes. He knows he has plenty of time to get back into this.
Alex Scales has been held to 12 points on a crossover, fadeaway, short, and rebounded by Morton.
The guy who just can't get his shot to go down. You can see all the instincts on that one play. A great cross, go to the middle of the lane, elevation, shot just comes up short.
Now 4 of 12 from the field as Kalkanis took a shot.
He went flying.
No call. Penetration, Shine, air ball, out of bounds.
You know you've done a good job on the defensive glass blocking out when the ball hits the floor a couple of times and nobody gets to it. Although Tommy Amaker would have liked to seen a call go the other way, the ball is going the other way.
Oregon Ducks came up with more regular season wins than any Oregon team since 1945. A great regular season. Norwood, off the penetration, he banks it through.
Also taking advantage, which is smart play by Norwood, isolating him on the left side just then against Kalkanis, which we've documented as the bad ankle, and they're going at him a little bit at their offensive end. Smart coaching by Ernie Kent.
6-point game. Morton attacking the rim, dropping it inside for Dellenbear, and a foul call.
Yeah, Kalkanis is going to come off the screen right here. I think he flails a little bit right there. There's a little bit of contact, but Caucanis is so good, and he's such a good free throw shooter. He'll try any trick he can to get to the line. Just under 90% on the season. But right there was a good no call from the officials.
Third personal on Wright. 6th team foul. Next one will put them in the bonus. Here's Holloway. Gracie gets a piece. Oregon looking to run.
On the way up off the board. Gracie quickness.
Inside, and a whistle stops play. Kick ball.
Ball's on the way up. Oof. You can take it off the glass when it's going up.
So Brian Bracy with a strong defensive play. Oregon trailing 57 to 51. Tack on 2 more.
Now if you're Seton Hall, you're getting a little nervous because Ernie Kent's squad, the Ducks are starting to light it up a little bit. They're starting to get their legs, getting their players involved offensively.
Scales has 14. Oregon has played well in close games this year. Lane, he's been off his game shooting-wise all day. Now 3 for 15 from the field.
Need to find another option, but he's not going to stop if there's a big shot opportunity.
57 to 53 Pirates as we hit the 4-minute mark, second half. Bracy hands off. Norwood a 3. Got it! And 9-0 Ducks run.
Norwood at 38% from the floor, knocking one back.
Timeout. Seton Hall, 1-point Pirates lead.
The Ducks are fighting their way back into this, down 1 point, but watch Shaheen Holloway get lost on a screen. He's behind. Norwood recognizes, jumper from 3, bang, knocks it down. Different ball game, 3:52 to go.
Seton Hall with a 57 to 56 lead. There was that one possession where the Pirates took so much time off the clock. May have taken them out of their flow a bit offensively, especially with in excess of 5 minutes to play.
I think part of the strategy, too, with Tommy Amaker was to take it and slow it down a little bit, and that takes the Ducks out of their defensive intensity and the ability to get transition, so that may have worked against them.
There's Holloway. The leaner is good.
A driving move by Amaker, Amaker watching Holloway drive to the basket with that one. He'll take control, make things happen.
Here's Norwood giving it up around the perimeter. Penetration and pull-up. The jumper for Scales.
I'll tell you what the sign is for the Ducks. The ability to get off the floor. Scales did not get off the floor all afternoon as well as he did on that one jump shot. He seems to really have the legs back.
The Oregon section on its feet here in Buffalo with Seton Hall up by 1. 3 minutes to play. Here's Morton. And put it on the floor, defended by Bracy. Holloway with 10 to shoot. They need to get Caucanis involved. He's had the hot hand of late.
Here comes the breakdown.
Holloway gives it up for Lane. 2-1, gets it off a 3. Off the back of the iron and rebounded by Oregon. Scales comes up with it.
The slow-down tactic is working against them a little bit right now. The Ducks have elevated their defensive effort. Ernie Kent wants to talk things over.
Ernie Kent takes the timeout. Seton Hall 59-58 over Oregon. Late second half. Ernie Kent, a popular figure in Eugene, Oregon, part of the Kamikaze Kids in the 70s under Dick Harder. Kent comes back to his alma mater, takes over, and has his team in a tough battle with Seton Hall in the first round. 2:26 to play. We're in the second half. Seton Hall 59, Oregon 58. Just moments ago, it seemed like the Pirates were ready to pull away, leading by 10.
The whole storyline basically for the Ducks has probably been, when you look at them struggling the whole way to try to get into their transition and up-tempo game, it's taken them the better part of 36, 7 minutes or so to get to a comfortable level on the floor.
Game reset. Take a look at those team fouls. Only 3 so far on Seton Hall. The next one called on Oregon will put them over the limit. 2:15 left. 12 to shoot.
They have some options with Norwood and Scales playing confidently right now.
Shot clock is down to 7. Norwood controls it, using the Hartenstein screen. High arcing delivery. Rebounded by Bracy. The foul is good.
Bracy has given them a terrific lift off the bench, working the glass, banging bodies down deep.
Ducks lead by 1. Down to 1:46 left. Kaukanis gets a touch. Here's Lane, searching for a stroke, and it's there. A three.
Just incredible. 4 of 17 from the floor, and he hunts down a shot in a tough situation. Wow, that's finding the basketball.
12 points for Lane, 4 of 17 shooting. And a foul called as Bracy put it on the floor. Just the 14th foul on Seton Hall. Greg Morton came out to defend it. Number 3 on him. And a timeout. 1:24 left. Seton Hall clinging to a 2-point lead. Game summary, and it's a tight one here in Buffalo. How tight? Both teams have shot 10 of 27 from the field in the second half. Coming down to the final moments, 1:24 left. Iron Eagle Jim Spinarkle, not a bad way to start off things here in Western New York. Oregon has seemed to gain confidence as this game has gone on, especially in the late stages second half.
It was a struggle the whole way for them, and finally all of a sudden the last 3 minutes or so they find a way to light themselves up and get some energy at the offensive end. Ernie Kent has done a terrific job of just hanging with this team. Really what it comes down to, you can wipe all the stats away. It's the beauty of basketball, especially in March, is it comes down to games like this. Who's going to execute and make less turnovers or mistakes?
Ducks with the ball, looking for the tie or the lead with a three-pointer. Right on a bounce for Bracy. Bracy working with Morton, spin move to the rim. Banks it home for the tie.
Is he ever active? Good opportunity, a little isolation for Bracy. You can see the bounce in his legs going right after it.
1 minute left. First round of the East region. The 7 seed Oregon, 62. The 10 seed Seton Hall, 62. All knotted up.
See if Holloway can try to get something going towards the basket and free up a shooter on the wings.
10 to shoot. It's going the other way.
Oh, Dallenberg with a sliding screen picks up his 3rd foul. What a call. What an unfortunate opportunity for Tommy Amaker and the Pirates. Not the big guy not holding his ground.
A costly whistle for Seton Hall with 44.9 left.
Step in right over there. Yeah, and he keeps moving up and sliding out. The big fella has to hold his ground in that particular situation.
A 9-second difference. Shot clock to game clock, and Ernie Kent takes a timeout. 38.8 left. 62-62, Seton Hall in Oregon. Coming up next here on CBS, first round action continuing. Butler taking on Florida. Lafayette and Temple here in Buffalo. Approximate time 2:47. UNLV and Tulsa in the south, and Utah State and UConn. Most of you will be seeing UNLV and Tulsa matching up in first round play. 38.8 on the clock. Seton Hall 62, Oregon 62. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. Oregon basketball.
Tommy Amaker sticks, I'm sure will stay with the man-to-man. You start thinking about changing defenses right about now. The thing about the Ducks, though, is that they have pretty good hop from their wing players right now. So the Pirates just have to basically stay to their man, play one-on-one defense, and really see which one can tighten up the reins.
9-second differential. Shot clock to game clock. 25 seconds to play. All tied up, 62 apiece. Right on a bounce inside. Bracy couldn't handle it initially. 9 to shoot. Norwood
Looking for Bracy. They got him.
5 to shoot. Bracy to the rim. Leaning in, and a foul call.
In isolation of taking Bracy away from the basket, that brings Dallenberg out on the floor. You neutralize a 7-footer's advantage by bringing him and stepping him away to 15 feet. And look at the isolation. All of a sudden, you get Dallenberg moving and having to try to block a shot really on the move when he's better just standing still, waiting for a second opportunity.
Free throws, looking for the lead. Brian Bracy, a junior college transfer from Malcolm X College in Chicago, Illinois. Hits on the first, a 71% free throw shooter. It has been an emotional year. for the young man from Chicago. His father committed suicide over the summer. And Brian Bracey is at the free throw line with a chance to give the Oregon Ducks a 2-point lead. 12.7 on the clock. Gets the second. 64-62.
Has to get something going towards the basket.
Holloway, 6 seconds. Now Caucanis, drive to the rim, layup. We're tied. 3.3 left.
The Ducks were thinking that Seton Hall was going to go for it all and go for the win. They lure him out and they break him down.
Timeout with 3.3 on the clock. 64-64, the Hall in Oregon. Back in Buffalo, where Seton Hall and Oregon are tied at 64 apiece, and Remus Caucanis, the senior, the leader, going to the basket.
You see the Ducks, though, are all out of position because they're thinking, well, we don't want to lose this game, which makes sense. Come outside, prevent a long heave to lose a basketball game. Caucanis, that's why Tommy Amaker has him on the floor, though. Even struggling through the injury problem with the ankle, they need his poise on the floor.
Oregon, though, will get a final opportunity with 3.3.
Well, you look where they're going to inbounds the basketball. I mean, it's going to be a long way to go. Seton Hall wants to prevent the ball getting really to half court easily. So if you catch, you want it going towards, away from their basket.
Jones tossing it in. Smith, 2 seconds. 1 second, he'll hold it, throw it at the buzzer. And we are going to overtime.
I don't have a problem with that because you do not want to cause a problem in your backcourt. So that's a heady play by Smith, even though it didn't look like it.
First game of the day in Buffalo. We need an extra session. 64 apiece. The Seton Hall Pirates and the Oregon Ducks tied at 64 as we get you ready for overtime here in Buffalo, New York. Seton Hall, the 10 seed, Oregon, the 7 seed. You said it at the top of the broadcast, Jimmy. Forget about the seeds the second the ball goes up in the air. And this one has been close throughout, but there were moments in the second half where the Pirates appeared to have the upper hand, ready to take over.
You take a look at their overtime records, 2-0 each. But one of the things, if you're the Ducks right now, I'd be convincing them, and I'm sure Ernie Kent is kind of positioning it in this way, saying that, hey guys, we're getting stronger and stronger as this day progresses. So now we're lucky. We get an opportunity to go to overtime. The reverse has been true for the Pirates. They've had some problems hanging around. Granted, they played a good solid minute and a half just then, but I think the strength is going towards the Ducks.
I think you're right. The roles did reverse at about that 5-minute mark of the second half, where it was Seton Hall all of a sudden playing back on its heels.
Traveling and playing basketball is a very difficult thing. The Ducks experienced that. They did come out on Tuesday to get a little head start on it, but I still think it had some effect the first half, and into the second half they struggled. Now all of a sudden it's even up again.
Bracey and Dellenberg to jump it up. We're going to have to do it again.
Yeah.
(64-64) overtime here at HSBC Arena. They'll reset the clock as well. 2 seconds it ticked off. 5 minutes showing. And overtime is underway. Knocked around Lane trying to save it. He does for Caucanis, and Seton Hall will have the first possession.
That ball was off Lane's foot too. That's why he had to track that basketball down.
Holloway, Lane, Morton, Dellenberg, Caucanis for Seton Hall. Bracey, Scales, Wright, Hartenstein, and Jones, the 5 on the floor for Oregon. Dangerous pass. Morton penetration through the legs of Dellenberg, out of bounds. We are in overtime with 4.5 to play. Oregon and Seton Hall tied at 64.
A game that has been just a flat-out battle for the Ducks all afternoon. They've fought their way back into this, a sluggish afternoon, but they get a second chance in overtime. The Pirates are second-guessing themselves a little bit.
Scales on an entry. Bracey didn't expect the pass, and a turnover.
Pirates have controlled the tempo pretty much the whole way, setting the tone, slowing it down, especially at the end of the ball game. They have worked against them a touch. They have to get a scorer involved, whether it's Lane or Caucanis.
Lane is 4 for 17 from the field. And now Holloway will slow things down with 15 to shoot, set up the offense. Holloway leading the way for the Pirates with 23. Kaukanis. That's goaltended. Remus Kaukanis, who tied this game at 64 at the end of regulation, gets Seton Hall on the board in overtime.
Watch how quickly you shoot it from underneath. You don't bring that ball up in the traditional shooting position. He scoops it up. The reason you scoop, get it off the hand quickly, get it up fast, and force the goaltending call.
Gracie got it too late, and Seton Hall leads by 2. 3:28 remaining in OT. Here's Jones off the dribble. Gives it up. Jump shot right. Lines it up. And hits a 3.
Been pretty quiet most of the afternoon, actually. He can be fairly explosive. An underrated player. Big shot.
Here's Holloway crossing over. Left-handed attempt, no good. And Gracie able to clear it for right. Oregon looking to run. Seton Hall backtracks defensively. And a giveaway. Holloway on a race to the rim. Trying to angle inside the layup. High off the glass and in.
You may have noticed Holloway just then. Very shrewd play. As he went towards the basket, he made sure that he ducked in front of the defender. You get your shoulders in front, then you're dictating what's going to happen.
25 for Shaheen Holloway, and Seton Hall leads by 1. Out front, Gracie.
Good cut.
To the rim, Jones hanging. Couldn't spin it in.
D'Alembert a factor again, forcing him to go to the reverse side. D'Alembert with the 4 fouls.
Holloway attacking. Kick out for Lane. And they'll reset with Kaukanis. 2:20 left in OT. Seton Hall up by 1. Lane on a pump fake, defended by Wright.
Good pressure there by Wright. Lane will shoot that with somebody on him.
Kaukanis spin move to the rim. Little flip. No, not to the outside. D'Alembert. Risky pass. He could have reset it.
Loose shot clock goes the other way.
Scales an explosion to the rim. He missed the dunk.
Ernie Kent living off the bench. Looking for a call. No call. D'Alembert once again defensively.
And Tommy Amaker wants a timeout.
Slow down, guys.
1:53 left in overtime. 68-67. Pirates.
Seton Hall holding on to a 1-point lead. Watch Shaheen Holloway try to find the defender. You see him going towards his right. He wants to get his shoulders in front of the defender, and that clears a path to the basket. The other end of the floor, the action. Scales going after it. Just misses the dunk. D'Alembert was a factor. I didn't think he really put the hand on him, the body on him. A tough break for Ernie Kent and company.
The game reset. 2 timeouts apiece. Team fouls. Both clubs are 1 foul away from going over the limit and hitting the bonus. A minute 47 left to play. We're in overtime. Seton Hall 68, Oregon 67. Pirates with the ball. It's Holloway.
Once again, patient enough to take time off the clock. A 1-point lead.
There's Holloway giving it up. Lane gets it back to him with 7 to shoot. Using clock. Holloway shaking back. Wright picked his pocket. Lead feed for Gracie. Uncontested reverse dunk.
Exceptional defensive play by Wright. He forced himself into a position where he able to strip Holloway of the basketball.
Oregon leads by 1. Holloway has a screen set by Wilkins. Gives it up on the bounce. Wilkins the jumper. Too much on it. Off the top of the backboard. 1 minute to play and Oregon controls it. Leading by a point.
Time to get a stop. If you're Seton Hall, you want to run your execution. If you're the Ducks, get the wings involved. Get guys handling the basketball who can create. Put it on the floor with the tough pressure man-to-man defense.
Jones matched up with Kaukanis. 14 to shoot. 40 seconds to play. Step it. Darius Lane to the goal for 2.
Oh, did he ever tuck the ball away also to protect it from being blocked again? We're even on the shot clock versus the game clock pretty much.
Back and forth we go, and Seton Hall up by 1. Oregon takes a timeout with 32 seconds left in overtime.
With Seton Hall leading by a point in overtime, it's turned into a game of defensive opportunities. First Wright getting Gracie down the floor. I'm not sure if I would have tried that fancy dunk, but then Darius Lane comes back with the steal, tucks the ball away, and puts it in. What a terrific finish to this overtime match.
32 seconds left. There is a 1 second difference shot clock to game clock. The game reset with Seton Hall up by 1. You see the timeout situation. Possession arrow favors Oregon. In overtime, Seton Hall 70, Oregon 69. 20 seconds left. Spread the floor with Scales, matched up with Caucanis. 13 seconds. Scales fading away for the lead. Off the rim. The follow was blocked. And a foul. Jones is going to the free throw line.
Morton went up big time to try to block that shot. A good look once again. Ball's going to kick off softly. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a very good call, though. Morton got up, got the right side of the hand and arm. Ernie Kent likes the call, the reaction. The Ducks like it, but it's the correct call, which is the most important thing.
Frederick Jones will go to the free throw line out of Barlow High School in Oregon. He decided to stay at home and attend Oregon University. He's 2 for 10 from the field, 1 for 1 from the line, and Tommy Amaker wants him to think about it with 8.7 left. Seton Hall leading by 1. Free throws may determine the outcome of this one in overtime, 8.7 left. Tommy Amaker's Seton Hall Pirates have a 1-point lead on Ernie Kent's Oregon Ducks. And Frederick Jones, maybe the most important recruit that Kent has landed in his 3 years with the school, will go to the free throw line with a chance to give his team the lead.
Now, Amaker's timeout just then, too, Ian, is to ice the shooter a little bit, but also to talk through your strategy when the ball goes up. You have to make sure you're blocking out, obviously.
Hits the first. Tied at 70. Still 1 timeout remaining for each team.
This is where the strategy comes in. Block out first, get the ball.
Gets the roll on the second attempt. Oregon up by 1. Holloway, 4 seconds. Holloway length of the floor to the rim. Oh! Got it! 1.9 left at the buzzer, and that's it. Seton Hall pulls it off, and the Pirates are going to the second round. They beat Oregon in overtime, 72-71.
It's all about senior leadership. A lot of games are won with the backcourt. Shaheen Holloway taking over, going the length of the floor. Not a Duck standing in front of him, forcing the action, making things happen. A remarkable drive by Shaheen Holloway, pushing the ball up the floor. Where are the Ducks when he breaks somebody down? Here we go, through the middle of the lane. Somebody has to step in, but he's shifty enough to drop one down and knock it back.
And what a fitting way to end it. Up and down all day.